What does soccer really mean for countries throughout the world?
I think in various parts of the world other than the United States, it means absolutely everything. It is the way cultures validate their nationalism. Smaller countries. Case in point, the 1990 World Cup. First game of the World Cup in 1990, Cameroon beats Argentina, the World Cup holders. Fast forward to 2002, Senegal beats France, the World Cup holders. These small countries, for that one day, for that one World Cup, were equal to some other soccer playing nations.
Soccer is more than just a game to a player like me. We found that it is a way for someone to express his or her pride and love for the game. As we look deeper, we found this to be true with players all over the world. Not only that, but we found a different side of the game entirely.
So we started off just by thinking, how does soccer affect the world, but not necessarily just through the game?
We all knew soccer had an effect on different people across Europe, Africa, and really all over the world. But we never really knew, if there was a clear negative conflict in soccer that could be seen through people's passions for the game.
It became more evident that through what we were finding out, researching, that this really does affect all people all over the world. Things like tribalism, like racism, and like hooliganism are all shown through soccer.
So naturally, since we figured out that all these conflicts were in soccer, the conflicts of tribalism, hooliganism, and racism, we wanted to find out how these affected us mainly, especially racism, because that seemed to be the most prevalent.
Some of the things that players were called by home supporters were just earlier here. The standard was the monkey chants, bananas being thrown in the pitch.
How could it possibly happen in soccer? If you think of if any sport that is accepting of different cultures and you're having a chance to watch their abilities, irrespective of where they're from, you have to respect the ability of the player, no matter where he's from. Racism in football, soccer right now, it's not as bad as it used to be, but the mere fact that it still exists is totally unacceptable.
Racism is all over the world. It's not just in the big professional European leagues. Recently, in my community of soccer, we've had racist remarks said, just slurs at other players, and then even it's gone as far as there's been fights during games because of a racist slur that was said.
When you play club, you usually go out of state to play other teams, and then that's when the tensions arise. St. Louis is very diverse, and then there's some teams that clubs from St. Louis play that aren't very diverse, and they're not used to having African Americans or Hispanics on the team, and then this is one of those situations when we don't want the problem of like racism to arise.
Racism kind of arises from like there's such a strong pride in most teams that when these maybe African or Mexican or foreign players come in, like this pride builds up like a racist thinking in the team, and then this circles throughout the fan. But I mean, most of the time it seems like all these fans want is to win, and like once this comes to extreme, this is where you get the conflict and like these fans getting all crazy, and this is when the problems start to arise, when these fans start to get so involved with the game that their pride takes over. It's never just this racism that makes the conflict. It's really a combination of racism, tribalism, which is almost identical to nationalism, and then hooliganism, all playing into like get the fans and all supporters and even the team going, and then this just causes
Problems on and off the field. We found these problems arise all over the world, but they can also impact our community because, well, first of all, St. Louis, they have the rich history in soccer, and there's a lot of people that play it, including me, Greg, and Albert.
Either the fans, if they can clearly delineate, it was A, one fan, or B, a group of fans, a lifetime ban from the ground, obviously, and continue to preach what they do at home and away games for every country. Continue to honor and respect the viability of the player from what country he comes from. Sing the praises of that particular country arriving in a new country. And a lot of the World Cup games in 2010, 2006, the teams would walk out and the respective captains would read the FIFA credo about saving the racism.
we have to stop these conflicts in soccer. It has to be simply stopped with recognizing when these problems are going on, making sure we do not participate in the problem, whether it is on or off the field. We have to be examples for others in representing the game, speaking out against racism on our own. Possibly one could even start a non-racism league, specifically look to stomp out racism and other conflicts in soccer.
So to prevent this from happening, we just gotta talk about the problems happening in the rest of the world, because if we learn about them, like in history, there's a less chance of them happening here. Soccer is also rising in the United States, and as it rises, fans become more passionate, and then we don't want their passion to go like over the top and then cause like these problems that's been causing in Europe.